Hey guys, you joined me for another video where I'm going to nick an idea from Kill You in the Loser, aka Andy, and tell my own version. This one isn't really an idea, he just along with Emmy, did their stories of how they lost their virginity, so I thought I'd cover that as well. I might spin off into another topic that's kind of related to this. So, for the background that's important, I lost my virginity very late. I lost my virginity when I was 22. And it was with a girl that I had had a chance to sleep with when I think I was 19 when I originally had the chance. And then a couple of years later, we reconnected, and then that's when I finally, took the plunge, so to speak. I do want to talk in another video, and I'll leave this for a complete other video, about sexual hesitancy, which is something that I don't think is talked about enough among guys. The idea that guys are seen as like when they're like from 16 onwards or 15 onwards, they're like raring to go. They're like, as long as they can find someone who's consenting, they'll lose their virginity. Whereas my experience growing up, going into my late teens and very early 20s was actually pretty different. Like I was very, I guess, emotionally unready to have sex or make a move towards having sex for much of my like 18, 19, 20 when I was at university. So looking back on that, there's some things I want to talk about there, but not in this video. This video is just purely the story. So this girl, I met her at uni, and we became friends through our course. We were doing a project together originally for our history course. And yeah, we hit it off really well. We really liked hanging out with each other. I just wasn't ready for any girl at that time. So I, fucked around like hanging out with her but not doing anything. We were just hanging out as friends, and then we got really drunk like the last night we were hanging out. Before, she was actually from Canada, so she had to fly back at the end of the school year. She was only doing, I think it was half a term or a term in the UK. She had to fly out, so we had like one big last like night, and we had it with all of our friends in the course together. And she ended up sleeping over in my bed that night because a few people didn't have like anywhere to go, so I let them stay in my room. And yeah, she ended up in bed with me, and it was like, we spooned. Like there was nothing kind of weird about it. And then I don't know, there was some weird vibes, and obviously I wasn't picking up on it. I was incredibly inexperienced. I had no idea what I was doing with girls at all, and I wasn't, able to do it. 2 years later, I moved to the city. I got a job. I got my own flat. And we'd been talking over Skype. And during this time, she had let slip that she really liked me. We'd been talking for like 2 years solid, basically, since she left for Canada. And after a while, we were like Skyping every month or so. And then she just didn't let slip. She wrote me a message being like, hey, I really like you. And I was like, cool. I didn't have a great reaction to it. It was around the time just before this that I'd started finding out about Good Looking Loser and like the hardcore self-improvement and the AA program and all those things. And I'd started trying to actually become someone who got girls, because obviously I wanted that in the back of my head, but I didn't know how to get it. And part of that was like I needed to lose my virginity. And so she was talking about coming back to Europe on holiday, and I offered her the chance to stay with me, knowing that she really liked me. And that I was attracted to her. I wouldn't say I had the same level of feelings for her that she had for me, but at that point I was like kind of interested in the idea of like losing my virginity, and this seemed like a slam dunk, so to speak. So yeah, from there she came to stay with me in my flat while she was transitioning back from Europe. I think she went to Serbia, and she had, flight into London, and she'd come back, but she extended her stay in London for a week so we could hang out. And the first night she got in, like I knew she liked me. I liked her enough. I still couldn't make a fucking move. Like the first night we just kind of like, we shared a bed because there was only one bed in my flat. And she like rolled over and kissed me, and then rolled over and went to sleep. And like I didn't do anything. Like I just didn't, I was completely like, what the fuck do I do? We're sharing a bed, blah, blah, blah. So the next day, obviously, we're like hanging out, kind of like a couple, making out, like holding hands, that kind of stuff. And eventually, we end up going out to a music, like some kind of band. I think we went to see a band that was local. And then we ended up going to a bar, had a few drinks, came back, and essentially, she initiated everything. Like I was so like not leading this. I was so not in control. Remember, I was a virgin, but she didn't know that. she had had like 2 boyfriends before, so she was experienced. I really should have told her a lot more beforehand. I should have like admitted that I was a virgin. I should have admitted that I had no experience. That's why I wasn't doing anything. It must have been very like confusing from her point of view that she was leading everything and that I was being really timid and like holding back. So yeah, looking back, it was super fucking cringe how like inactive I was and how I wasn't initiating anything or oh man, there's other cringe stories from this time period as well, like before this, like messing up chances with girls because I was like just scared. Like I would freeze. I didn't know how to do anything, and I was like scared of like being bad at kissing. I was scared of being bad at sex. I was like there were so many things that like got in the way of me actually losing my virginity, and yeah, I was just really lucky. This girl really liked me. She flew from another fucking country, and then essentially like initiated everything for me. And I had like a whole week with her. She would stay in my flat. We hung around each other all the time. It was quite intense, but it was good, and it was obviously like good for me to get experience in that way with someone that I knew really well, and yeah, I knew really cared for me as well. So there were some like I don't regret how I lost it, even though it was really late for some. Well, it sounds really late, but for me it was probably the right time. So yeah, that's the story pretty much. It was pretty good. I remember sharing it online on like Good Looking Loser forums and stuff, and people were like, "Damn, that's such a lucky or like fortunate way to lose it. The fact that you got to stay with that girl for a week as well, and like you knew, and you like you had well, she had feelings for you, and you knew her very well. So yeah, that's the story. This is a more what's the word intimate thing to share online. I'm getting used to sharing shit though, like telling stories. You don't have to keep everything bottled up inside. All right, guys, that's all for this one. Peace out.